Yesterday was total chaos at the Madlanga Commission. Arrogant Advocate Dali Mpofu tried to bully Advocate Sello, but he was immediately put in his place. Every single time Advocate Sello tried to ask General Senona a question, Mpofu stepped in to block her. He even went so far as to dismiss her line of questioning as petty drama for TV. That was the exact moment Advocate Sello drew the line, completely dismantling Dali Mpofu's arrogance right then and there. It was an absolute battle of legal wits, a classic case of I know the law better than you do. Dear viewers, welcome to today's podcast. Grab your cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this dramatic Madlanga showdown. If you love how Advocate Sello stood her ground against the arrogant Dali Mpofu, hit that like button, share this video so more people can see Mpofu get humbled, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Drop a Viva Advocate Sello in the comment section below to celebrate her bravery. Jabalani, roll the clip.
It cannot be that he cannot be questioned about flouting of prescriptions in his presence. He was aware. It is different for what happened at the harbor, what happened at Isipingo, because he was not present. And that distinction is an important one to hold. The conversation we have had over the past so many minutes is about his presence at Port Shepstone, his approvals at, maybe not approvals, but his failure to act when prescripts are flouted. That he can respond to. And it is not enough for Mr. Mpofu to call it minutiae. There are a series of questions of what we consider flouting of prescripts in his presence that at the very least must be put, each question, to General Senona. And there is no basis for Mr. Mpofu to stop that exercise. The question will be put. What arises is how General Senona responds thereto. I was going to deal with the provisions of the Act and the fact that actually the witness is under compulsion to respond to every question put to him in the commission and answer to the satisfaction of the commissioners at the risk of inviting consequences to him. I will add that the Act specifically protects a witness from answering where he invokes legal privilege. And I submit that in the absence of legal privilege, then the witness must answer.
Self-incrimination.
Yes, I'm getting to self-incrimination. And the self-incrimination is to every question, then the witness must go on record and invoke the privilege not to self-incriminate. What Mr. Mpofu wants to achieve is that certain questions not be put at all because they may self-incriminate, but we don't know which questions will the answers to which will self-incriminate, which will not. He must be patient enough for the commission to go through the questions, and the witness will respond accordingly. We have had a case where a witness, I think, spent almost the entire half a morning refusing to answer on the basis of potential self-incrimination. And that went on record, and that was accepted. And if that is how the system works, then General Senona must go through the same process. Now, it cannot just...
The context, though, was different there because
Indeed.
It related to criminal proceedings or a criminal process. Here, I've not heard that.
Indeed,
which is why I was engaging at the level of outside of a criminal process. What would the legal basis be? So now you are bringing the general into the fold of a criminal process, which I do not think he has claimed.
I'm not doing so, Chair. I am raising the issue of privilege, which is his protection in terms of the Act, and that he cannot be expected to self-incriminate is one of the privileges accorded him by law. So that one is in the bag. Now, what is being raised does not fall within the confines of the privilege as contemplated by the Act, which is that he may face potential disciplinary proceedings on the basis of answers he gives. That is a different debate, whether or not that complies with his compulsion to answer every question satisfactorily. But that's a different debate we can have. The issue I was raising and I was taking issue with mainly is that the questions should not even be posed and to offer the witness an opportunity to engage and deal and respond thereto. And that is what I'm objecting to. Mr. Mpofu cannot appear or attempt to appear to gag the evidence leaders and the commissioners. Because it's a fact-finding inquiry, the questions will be posed, answers will be provided, at the conclusion of which the commissioners will reach certain their own determinations.
Mpofu is trying so hard to protect General Senona, but Advocate Sello is standing her ground. She is firmly arguing that following the rules is a core responsibility of a senior police general's job, and he absolutely must answer for ignoring them. She says, look, we aren't blaming General Senona for the actual theft of drugs at the Durban Harbour or Isipingo, because he wasn't physically standing there when it happened. But he was physically present in the office when official protocols and police rules were being actively broken right in front of him. He knew about it, and we have every right to ask why he let it happen. Jabulani, roll the clip.
May I respond, Chair? Thank you, Chair. No, I think we're on the same page as far as that's concerned. All I'm doing really, I'm here to protect the interests of this client. I'm simply saying, if and when he says to Ms. Sello, I'm uncomfortable answering that question about the bags or whatever, because it might expose me to something else. All I'm saying is to put that into context so that the commission doesn't read something else into that, to think maybe that's because he stole the drugs or whatever. He is explaining the reason why he's doing this. In America, it's called taking the Fifth Amendment, right? He is saying, I'm uncomfortable in answering that question because it's going to expose me to something else. Honestly, that's all I'm saying. You can say from someone taking the fifth, oh, that means he's guilty, that's fine. Someone can say that. Or you can say he's protecting himself from further jeopardy. That's up to the commission, but I'm just putting that into perspective.
Just to conclude this, Mr. Mpofu, it's actually something I thought of as the general was responding quite early on. I forgot to raise it when I was engaging you. In the context, for example, of there being criminal proceedings in the background, a witness may say, I will not answer for fear of self-incrimination, which is understandable under Section 35 of the Constitution. In this context, what would, assuming that the question is relevant to the terms of reference, I want us to avoid the question, but this one is not. I just, as a matter of principle, want to understand the legal basis for a witness where there are pending disciplinary process, what the basis for remaining silent would be.
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson. That's a valid...
I'm not saying there isn't.
No. I'm not taking it that way either. I think we're all trying to explore the same thing. Chairperson, as you know, I'm the first one to say, that's why I said in the morning, I'm not raising this at a technical level. It's true that Section 35 doesn't apply to this situation. To you and me, that might make a difference. But we must put ourselves in the shoes of people. Whether I'm exposed to criminal prosecution or I'm exposed to being fired at work, it might make zero difference to me. I'll just leave it at that. So, it's nice, the lawyering about, okay, does this now mean self-incrimination for the purposes of prosecution? It's all very nice academic debate. But if you think that when I leave here on Monday, I might be faced with something that's going to take food from my children, then quite frankly, it's the same effect as to whether or not you should expose yourself to this danger or that one.
I get the effect, and my reference to Section 35 of the Constitution sought merely to emphasize the difference or the distinction. Yes, that was merely So the point of substance was more, in this context, what is the legal basis for saying I choose not to respond to this question? And I have not heard a direct answer from you.
Well,
I get and I accept your point about the effect may actually be the same. Sometimes it may actually even be worse to lose your employment. I get that. So just as a matter of law, then what would the basis be?
Well, as a matter of law, there might be zero basis, Chair. But as a matter of real life, whether you expose yourself to in other words, Chair, all I'm saying to you, Chair, is in real life, whether I'm exposing myself to some policeman coming into my house on Monday, or some supervisor at work coming to my office on Monday, in real life, that's the same thing. In law and in the philosophies of criminal law and criminal procedure, there's a big difference. That's why there's a difference between Section 35 and Section 34 of the Constitution, because they address different situations. But those are niceties of professorial rectitude.
When a witness admits they are uncomfortable answering a specific question, it usually means the cross-examination has hit a highly sensitive nerve. That is exactly what happened when Major General Lesetja Senona told Advocate Sello that he was uncomfortable answering questions regarding the individuals who accessed the safe. But the moment Advocate Sello tried to fire back, Advocate Mpofu jumped in to legally shield his client's silence. He said, and I quote, "You can blame him for being a bad manager, but you cannot force him to name specific people or detail HR records. Those are confidential, separate issues. Let's be clear, this line of questioning is a brilliant trap. Advocate Sello wants those names because knowing who accessed that safe leads directly to the thieves. We absolutely must give her flowers for this. Please type Bravo Advocate Sello in the comment section right now. Now let's watch the moment she tears General Senona apart with another question that caught him completely off guard. Jabulani, roll the clip."
Again, of the inappropriately named Madlanga unit in the police.
Let me on record say in so many ways that I objected strongly to that.
I know, rightfully so.
I immediately engaged the National Commissioner, and he agreed that was named wrongly.
Rightfully so.
But unfortunately, he was suspended before he could do anything. And
yes.
I later engaged the acting National Commissioner.
No, I appreciate that, Chair. In fact, to be honest,
even the latest name is still unfortunate because it still has commission in it.
Exactly. But Chair, I accept. Just to in your defense, Chair, I also became aware of it when you raised the objection, and it was a well-timed one, because it could have gotten into the minds of the nation wrongly.
It gives the impression that I'm going around arresting people.
Absolutely, or feeding some unit with information. But be that as it may, Chair, and we accept implicitly that is not the case. But clearly, there are people, whether in the inappropriately named unit or whatever its name is, its new name is, or the HR offices of SAPS, who see their task as it's quite laziness, to be honest, as just sitting there here and watching here and then making notes and then pouncing on people. That might be, shall we call it, an inherent danger in proceedings like this. We accept that. But all we're saying is that we shouldn't be playing into that here.
Libya, there's General Setole, the former National Commissioner. Do you see what is happening there, commissioners? Those are mandrakes. Are they in forensic bags? And that place is the place where the drugs were stolen. There's 541 kg. Hence, I agreed to the suggestion of my brigadier, because here is evidence that I've presented before, and I'm presenting it again, that it was not the first time. And the senior members that are there are far much senior than me. So, commissioners, if I knew about any other places other than the forensic and that police station they were telling me about, I believe I would have said, no, we can't go there. Let's go to this police station. That is, if you look at that picture, those things are not backed in exhibit bags. The senior managers are holding them. It is an unfortunate, some of them are no more in the service, but now I am now charged, investigated and suspended because these things were not the handling of the crime scene and the theft, the storage and the theft. So, Commissioner Kumala, I understand what you said, but these things are hitting sometimes when you look at this picture and then you look at what I'm going through. I'm trying to respond to the SC question that I did not know. I don't have any other better answer than I was not aware of any. But my own offices that were resorting directly under me, I knew where they were located.
General, just to be clear, I was not limiting you as far as the questions. I was saying the HR issues, let's leave them there.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's leave the HR issues where they belong, but you can answer the questions relating to what you are being asked.
Thank you.
So don't feel like I was gagging you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I wanted to depict these pictures because it seems, and when you go back to, when you go to page, it's very specific. I think it's page 68. Huh? Yeah. Page 68.
Yes.
A group of people between 10 and 15 attacked the forensic science laboratory in Pretoria. They held the security guards, tied them. A buggy by chance passed there. When the police were trying to establish what is happening, one policeman officer was shot by this group. Unfortunately, they couldn't steal the drugs there because according to the articles, they went there to steal the drugs. And I want to also go to page, where is that other thing? Police stations in page 75. They were attacked while there are 24-hour police officials in the police station. And maybe to save time, I want to go to another report here. Where is that report? It's last year, October. I'm looking for that report, Commissioner. My office at Richards Bay went and seized 14 bags, big bags of dagga. They were booked in the SAP 13. They're in Kwamsan police station. After a week, when they went there to take samples to send to forensic, 9 of the bags were missing. A docket was open. All I'm trying to, why I'm putting this picture before the commission is that the decisions, administrative decisions I took upon recommendations, they were bona fide. There was no mala fide. I know I'll be asked, you decided to take these things there because there was no security guard guarding the office and everything. But those securities, they were not static at Port Shepstone. They were activated by an alarm. It's as much as we said, my people must come and do what? The patrols at the offices and make OB entries between 1800 and 12 midnight, between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock during the day. I'm trying to save the commissioner's time because I'm trying to wrap up these questions that have been listed in the 10.6, but I'm willing to respond to any clarity-seeking questions, commissioners. Thank you.
If it's okay with you, General, I would prefer that you don't wrap up and we deal with each question and answer. So if we could, you took us to your page 60, which is that article. And I looked at it, and if you go back to that picture, it says, below the picture is written Police Minister Becky Taylor at the underground lab in Harding. And if you go to page 60, this is about the what's called a massive Mandrex manufacturing lab that was found. I'm not sure I understand what relevance does this have, this particular article have, to whether or not you were aware of facilities available to your members once they have seized these drugs and heroin around Durban.
I'm trying to say I was advised and suggested by a brigadier with more than 30 years. And then you see, this one is the drug bust of the Mandrex. If you go to 62, that 62, inside there is the safe where these drugs were stolen. There's 541 kg. I'm trying to show that it was not the first time. It confirms the recommendations of Brigadier Nyoswa to me that it was not the first time.
So then that the line below the picture has got to be wrong because it says Minister Cele at the underground lab in Harding.
Which one? Which picture? This one?
That very picture you have. It suggests that this is Minister Cele at the underground lab in Harding. And so I say I have a challenge in understanding what relevance this has to Port Shepstone offices.
These trucks and this room is the storage facility, that strong room. I'm trying to show that it was not the first time. The very same trucks were stored there to the value of 250 million.
Then I'll take it that the article is misleading because it suggests this is the lab itself, the underground lab in Harding. That question you don't answer.
I responded, Commissioner.
No, not in writing.
I responded here now, 2 minutes ago.
Please show me where you have written it.
I didn't written it, but I responded, then Commissioner.
Hence, I'm saying to you, let's leave 2.2 because you have confined yourself to Isipingo, and we are now in Port Shepstone, which is dealt with in 2.3.
Commissioners,
that's what I'm inviting us to do.
Before the SC asked me this question, I have responded before this question was posed to me, while we were dealing with the first question. I have responded, and then I was cautioned that don't summarize, wait for me to ask you questions one by one.
Yes, you did.
So I did respond.
So, and asking you questions one by one, I'm now at 2.3 because I want to talk about Port Shepstone.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay. Now, for that purpose, I would like to invite you to page 30. There's a particular protocol I'm interested in. That's an instruction, National Instruction 8 of 2017. It's CJC 230, starting at page 18. And I ask this question mindful of the fact that you say you accept all concessions and admissions made in regards to the handling of these drugs by those who came before you and were directly involved in this handling, in the seizure of the drugs. My first question is, you confirm you were present when these drugs were handed over at Port Shepstone?
Correct. I went there. Sorry, I went there at Port Shepstone when the drugs were stored there.
And you went precisely because you and Brigadier Nyoswa drove firstly to Sipingo and then to Port Shepstone following this seizure.
We never reached Sipingo.
You were headed there, but you never reached
it. We never reached there because he was talking on the phone, and then we diverted to Port Shepstone.
Now, and that was your purpose for going to Port Shepstone on the day?
The purpose for me to go to Port Shepstone was to also satisfy myself about the strong room.
Oh.
The strong room, because when I did the visit, I spoke to the members, and then I never inspected the facilities. I was addressing the members, introducing myself, and then I left. When we went there, it was the first time I saw those safes there.
Okay. Now we understand why it is you went there. Why, in your statement in November, you said you were in Port Shepstone for a meet and greet?
I was in Port Shepstone for the meet and greet in December 2020. The second time I was there, it was when we took these things there.
But that's not what your statement in this inquiry, if I may finish, an investigation states. Your statement appears at page 793. And in particular, I'm interested in paragraph 8.
Paragraph 8 of my statement.
Of the statement that the gentleman is locating for you.
Oh,
If
this
we
one.
scroll to the end of that statement,
This one.
we'll get the date. Correct.
This one that is reflected, Commissioner.
Yes.
It ran away.
If we scroll further down, you'll see the date. They're highlighted as the 2nd of December 2021. So that's when you deposed to that statement. Now let's go back to paragraph 8. This statement is dealing with the seizure and storage. I'm just curious to note at paragraph 8, you say you were there, and during your meet and greet visit at Port Shepstone, you instructed them to visit between 1800 and 000. And in your testimony, and as we know, those are the instructions you gave on the 22nd, the day they were being stored. I'm just curious why you called it a meet and greet.
It was
visit.
The second time. Yes, commissioners, if you are fine, can I respond?
Please.
Yes, commissioners, during the meet and greet, there are certain things that you will tell the members to do. It's not that you come and say, I'm General Senona, you leave it there. Because what I've realized, why have I given this one instruction during the meet and greet? We are not allowed to take vehicles and do the work and pack them or use them for transport purposes. And then this is a good practice that I was doing while I was working in Pretoria. So while I was doing the meet and greet, I informed them, not only Port Shepstone, but all the offices during my meet and greet with them, that it is important that we must safeguard our own dockets and properties as the members. When we booked vehicles out, and an OB entry must be effected that must depict the safety of the offices. It was this paragraph 8. It was not talking to the seizure, the theft itself. It was talking to my meet and greet. I did give this instruction. In June, it was the second time for that office for me to give them the very same instruction.
Let's adjourn. We'll indicate when we'll come back.
Yes.